Good evening, everyone. My name is Brian Erkschleben. I'm the superintendent of the Parks and Grounds Division for the city of Bowie. And I'd like to welcome everybody and thank you for joining us tonight. This meeting is part of our ongoing commitment to keeping residents informed about the beech tree health concerns along Bel Air Drive. I'd like to introduce our panel of members. This is Paul Schutz, City Forester for the City of Bowie, Department of Public Works. Community Forester for the Parks and Grounds, and this is also Richard Hall, Director, Department of Planning and Sustainability. Tonight we'll review what's happening with the beech trees, our plan for removal, replacement, and treatment, how we're ensuring a sustainable tree canopy for the future, and recommendations for residents with beech trees on their property. So, Paul?
Good evening, everyone. My name's Paul Schutz. I'm the Community Forester for the city, and I'm just going to be giving a brief overview of both of the diseases. So there's two diseases. The first one we're concerned about is the brittle cinder fungus. This is a fungal infection that weakens the wood, making the trees structurally unstable and likely to fail, which means they could fall over or lose large branches. It's a fungus that starts at the base of the tree and then gets into the wood and works its way up and makes the tree structurally unstable. The second disease we're worried about, which I believe it's in PG County now, it's not in our beech trees, but we want to prevent it because it's very detrimental. It's called beech leaf disease, and it's caused by a microscopic nematode that damages leaf tissue, leading to canopy thinning and decline. So we have some trees slated for removal. Those are going to be the ones that have the brittle cinder fungus or that have major structural issues, and the remainder of the trees will be treated for beech leaf disease.
So our plan of action: removal, replacement, and treatment. The immediate action is one tree in front of Bel Air Stables will be removed in November of 2025. And the reason for that tree being removed first is because of its location to our historic property stables. In early 2026, 14 structurally unstable trees will be removed and replaced. I mean, we have some very good pictures on the wall here. If anybody hasn't ridden down the boulevard to see what some of that looks like, but those are a good representation of what it looks like. Treatment: all remaining healthy or moderately affected beech trees will receive preventative treatments to reduce the impact of the beech leaf disease. Communication: updates will be shared via the City of Bowie's Beech Tree webpage as work progresses. Sustainability approach, Mr. Hall.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Oh, sorry. So I'm going to kind of zoom out a little bit, if you will. You heard a lot of details about the specific trees. What I want to talk about for just a minute is some of the broader issues with biodiversity, tree canopy, and that kind of thing. So this issue, you have the trees along Bel Air Drive, and for some people, that's a bit of an aesthetic issue, how it looks and the history of it. And I think everyone recognizes how unique and beautiful that boulevard is. But in doing so, we've created a bunch of trees that are all the same kind, right? A monoculture, and so it makes them susceptible to disease, and that's what we're dealing with here. And so the species that have been picked to replace them are native trees to be more resilient to disease and to climate, and the goal is to have them look similar, not exactly, but similar to the beech trees are being removed. Canopy shape and that type of thing. So we're trying to attain a lot of objectives at the same time, having trees that will be hardier, more resilient, that can bloom out to the similar canopy, look similar, and be healthy and diversify the populations of trees in that area. Speaking of trees in general and rolling that up broadly, among many things that we're looking at for sustainability in the city, and is articulated in our draft environmental action plan, which some of you all have been involved in, and we just closed the public comment period on that, and we hope to have that done by the end of the calendar year, so we're getting close. But one of the things we have in there is a tree canopy goal. The city has had its tree canopy goal for a number of years. It's 45%, and we are at that coverage now, 45% tree canopy cover in the city. And what we have in the draft plan is a 50% goal, so we're looking to increase the tree canopy level. And that's always easier said than done, but we think it's doable. That's also consistent, the 50% goal, with the WashCogs, the Regional Council of Governments. Their goal for the whole metropolitan Washington region is a 50% coverage. So we're looking to align ourselves with that goal, and we think it's doable. So that matters, not only when we're talking about the canopy and keeping it, hopefully increasing it along Belrow Drive, but other city properties, government-owned properties, as well as private properties. We've had some programs over the years, Plant One Tree on Us, and related efforts with homeowners associations to try to increase the number of trees. Trying to get trees on individual homeowners' properties can be a little difficult, but we're working to continuing to work at it, trying to find ways that work, assistance that works. And Tiffany Wright's in the back there. She works on that for us in our department. And we're certainly working with the Green Team and Environmental Advisory Board. We have members here tonight, Environmental Advisory Committee, and we have folks from those two groups here tonight as well. So again, we're looking at this at all three levels, the individual trees, how they'll be replaced with vibrant trees that will be resilient over time, and how that rolls up to the broader issue of trees, forest, and canopy cover for a sustainable Bowie. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hall. I'd like to take one moment really quick and introduce our one council member that is here, Mr. Brady, Dennis Brady. Thank you. We're going to go into a question and answer right now.
Okay, at this time, we are opening the floor for community questions and comments.
If you have a question, just no mic, and just raise your hand. Sinead's going to come over to take the questions for you. Thank you. It's okay. We'll be right to you.
Thank you. What certainty is there with the inspections you've done of the trees now that are slated to be removed, that their structural integrity will maintain between now and the time that you are going to remove them? And I ask because, so I'm that single house at the end of Felter right across, and major storms, limbs are falling, and often it's me, my teenage kids, we're going out there, we're moving limbs, trying to clear that road. With the winter season coming up, we're looking at the potential for snow, and are they going to withstand that, some of those limbs with that age?
Thank you. Very good question. So we had experts come in. They indicated that, and tested these trees for these diseases. What we have done was we've already acquired quotes and are working with them. So the timeline wasn't just us picking dates for when we can cut trees down. It's working with the contractor for when they can move in based on all of their other work. So January is really the quickest timeline that we have available to us to get through our procurement and work with their schedule to get these trees down. But it is of significant concern to us, and we want to get this addressed as soon as possible.
I have a couple of questions. I'll try to remember them all, ask them one at a time. The first is, how are the trees cared for in the city now? My wife and I have walked under that alley almost every day for the last I don't know how many years, and we've enjoyed them immensely. And over time, we've noticed that the trees are damaged, and we see what looks like some illness. And my question I've always had is, well, why aren't we doing something to protect these trees? So I'm wondering, is it impossible to maintain the trees at the right way, or is it just a sign that, well, the disease has already taken root, so to speak, and there's nothing left to do?
So as of right now, the concern is, of course, the cinder fungus that the trees have. By no means I'm an expert on the diseases, but I could almost tell that the majority of the trees that have it have been wounded somehow from cars hitting them. I mean, we as the Parks Department, we can't control that. With that being said, it's something we can't really control. So when these trees are infected, there is no treatment for the cinder fungus, and we're trying to heat off the pass of the beech leaf disease before it's a problem. One adage that we use is all throughout the city, we try not to have that monoculture and have one boulevard of tree. Like a good example would be anybody rode through Grady's Walk. I mean, 25 years ago they were all Bradford pears, and we have learned through the industry that Bradford pears are not a very good road tree because they end up cracking, and they're just not really good for the roads. I'm not saying beech trees aren't good for the roads, but I mean they've lasted this long, and we've tried to maintain them the best we can. It's just a new disease that we cannot control. So.
What about for something like you mentioned, car damage? How would you treat a tree that, say, was damaged by a car running into it?
There's some selective pruning that can be done to it, but other than that, I mean, people need to slow down. I think we all could agree to that, right?
When I was a kid, my dad always said when there was some damage to trees in our yard is that you always had to somehow cover the wound so that disease wouldn't get into the trees. So he used various types of sticky salves or spray paint or something like that. Is that the kind of thing that is now frowned upon? You don't do those kinds of things?
It's kind of frowned upon. Another adage that I had heard through the industry is trees seal wounds and people heal. So just think of something that if there's an impact to a tree, that tree starts to grow around it to try to seal itself off. So sometimes you just have to pray and hope that the tree's going to heal itself.
One other question. Thank you for putting this on. This is great. One thing, a bugaboo I have is vines growing up trees. And there's a lot of trees that are, I guess, the city's responsibility because they're close to the road that have all kinds of mostly English ivy growing up into the canopy. And the inhabitants of the house, they don't do anything to cut those vines down and protect the tree. Does the city have any plans to do anything to address that vine issue?
Could you be specific, like what area would that be?
Well, we live in the S section, and we just walk in the neighborhood every day, and we just see these English ivy vines growing up higher and higher in these trees, and the residents just don't seem to have any inclination or knowledge or know-how to cut these vines down.
So these are like private trees in people's yards, not ones 10 feet in from the curb.
Well, they are. Yeah, I'm talking about the ones that are 6 feet from the curb. Those are the trees I'm talking about. And so I was wondering if you had any ideas about addressing that problem.
I think Paul could probably answer that on our pruning regimen.
Thank you.
Sure. So we don't always see those, and usually we don't work on them unless someone specifically calls us for a service call to work on those trees. In that case, if we do find a tree that has some kind of vines on it, we usually cut a section out of those vines about 5-6 inches and just do that all the way around, and we just let them die. So that's something that the homeowner could do as well.
Sir,
So it's interesting though that you would actually, if somebody called and asked you to do that, you would actually come and do that.
Yes, we do have service for trimming all the street trees. It's just something that a resident would call us for a service call. And then we also do regular pruning in all the neighborhoods, but that takes a little bit longer. That's usually on about a 7-year rotation per neighborhood.
Oh, that's great. Thank you very much.
If I could just quickly add, with the green teams, we work with them for volunteers, and they do weed warrior events. We do this a few times a year. So it was one this past Saturday. So I came in, I think it was Saturday. I came in Monday, and Lexi Willems, our sustainability planner, she was so proud. She brought in this huge chunk of English ivy. And we're playing around with it in the office. We might decorate it as a Christmas tree or something, but it's huge. And I think a high school kid cut it off of the tree, and he was very proud of his accomplishment. So anyway, the point is that we work with volunteers as well.
Thank you.
to further answer one of your questions as far as the length and expanse of what our tree crews work on, we have about close to shy of 200 miles of city streets that are maintained, about 180, 190, and they have over 80,000 trees that are inventoried that are maintained by the city of Bowie. How many folks do you have working for you?
At the moment or all year long?
What's the allocation full-time?
3.
There you go. Three guys working on 80,000 trees. So it's a big job. And so when residents have concerns, they see something, please do share that with us. You know, these 3 gentlemen can't be everywhere, and we rely on the public's input. So thank you.
Hi. So I guess firstly, I really appreciate the biodiversity of the trees that were selected for replacement. All those are fantastic trees, and I can tell that a lot of thought went into it. For the community, I know I've lived here since 2018 and have gotten fairly attached to that drive. It's very beautiful. I go that way every morning, for work. Is there any thought being put into maybe like a tree appreciation ceremony or like a tree planting ceremony or something to kind of involve the community in like that sort of thing?
I mean, we could possibly have some talks about it. In my mind, I'm a go-getter. I'll just go and do it myself. That's contractors will handle the takedowns, and if it's up to me, I would like our staff to plant, because it's something. Every tree I've ever planted throughout the city, I'll ride by and say, I remember doing that. I remember doing that one. It's just a photogenic memory, I guess I have, and it was something that I always enjoyed doing. And I want our staff to do it. But yeah, we can continue to talk with our directors and Janae and sustainability, and we can work something out.
I think there was some discussion with Councilwoman Rogers and I think maybe some folks with the green teams about a plaque or something like that. I wasn't there for that, but so your point's well taken.
Yeah, there has been some discussion on that, and staff are toying with different ideas out to memorialize the importance of trees in general, as well as those specific trees.
We could possibly wrap it into Arbor Day somehow, because that's a big deal for this fellow here.
Oh, yeah, actually, can I stand up? Because I'm a teacher, so I was taught to stand and deliver. Plus, now I can see you better, too. I'm actually going to piggyback on this question because I was interested in the fact that you were looking at, adding not just one type of tree, but several. But I was a little surprised by your choices of trees. I'm not an arborist, but in my experience from hiking, white oaks grow really tall and really high. I know they're slow growing, but they get, so that would look a little funny if you had really tall trees and really short trees. Black gums are going to put junk all over the place. And I was curious why you didn't choose tulip poplars, because they are fast-growing and they also have, but are they also too junky? So, oh, okay, so just curious, because like I said, I'm not an arborist, so I didn't, just would like to hear more about your selection of those three types of trees. Thanks.
Yeah, I'll start right with the black gum. These would be, I mean, one of my favorite trees is a wildfire black gum. They do not put down the spiky balls. You're thinking of like a sweet gum. We have a massive crop of them at Allen Pond, and I'll leave it at that. But as far as the white oaks, there are multiple cultivars that could be choose from. I mean, we've been planting swamp white oaks. We've been planting pin oaks, northern white oaks all over the city. So the list is. I mean, I don't know exactly what white oak you've seen. I would imagine it's probably a northern white oak, massive tree. But yeah, the like sub cultivar would be up to us to figure out. And I think that was it, right? Oh, tulip poplar. The tough thing about a tulip poplar is it's a flowering tree, so we would have a flowering tree and then shade trees. Yeah. So I mean, it's a good idea, but we've actually tried to stay with the BG&E right tree, right place campaign that they had. So when we lose hollies or red buds, we're always trying to replace those flowering trees underneath the power lines. Yes.
In fact, my question is related to the previous one. What will be the time frame between the removal and the replacement of the trees, and how tall will they be when you replace them? And I have another question after that. But
Sure. So we're going to try to replace them just about as soon as they're removed, whether
Probably closer to spring.
closer to spring. Okay,
Yes.
because we could work it in with our contractor, or if not, if our crews do it, maybe more like the spring.
Yeah. Yep. But the removal, it will hopefully be after January 1st, sometime in the winter time, depending on the weather.
Brian, can you speak to the size of the tree? That was the other
The
question.
height.
So
When they're planted.
we would most likely use the same DBH that we use for a lot of street tree planting. So that'll be about an inch and a half, and about a 25-gallon pot. And height-wise is between about 6 and 7 feet. Yes.
okay. And my other question is in terms of sustainment. You talked about going to a 50% in terms of density of trees for Bowie. It seems that it's, if I compare Bowie to a town like Columbia, it's probably much lower than a town like Columbia. So I was wondering if 50% is kind of an average in Maryland, or if, and especially when we think in terms of the aggressivity of BG&E to cut trees and to mainly destroy trees around Bowie. I think that maybe we should target a density a little bit higher than 50%.
Okay. I don't know what the canopy coverage is in Columbia, but we're at 45% now, and we want to go up to 50. So I hear what you're saying. We want to go higher than that, and that would be great. The environmental action plan we're working on now, and like I said, our goal is to be done, take it to City Council at the end of this calendar year. Our plan is to revisit it every 5 or so years. So certainly we'll be monitoring trends of the goals and action items in the plan. So as things are going, if we seem like have some momentum in getting some trees planted and increasing our canopy, I can see we could increase that goal. It's not written in stone, but we certainly want to increase the canopy across the city. And there's a lot of things changing it, right? Some trees come down naturally, some are taken down, for utility easements. So it's a moving target, but we definitely want to get the canopy even above 50%, but that's our initial target. That's not, that's an idea. That's not something I've done before, working with them on that, but certainly they have significant needs to keep their right-of-ways clear.
That's a slippery slope, and we've been dealing with that for years.
Yeah.
I mean, the BG comes in someone's backyard, that's right, and they decimate trees, and then homeowners call our office and say, what can we do? City-wise, we can't really do anything because it's a major utility. So we can argue some, but it doesn't really get far. It's tough. I mean, their answer would be, okay, well, you want your power to stay on when the wind's blowing. It's that. So we have argued before, but it can only go. Sometimes it falls on deaf ears. So.
Brian, we have a question over here.
Three things real quick. First off, thank you, right? I really love living in Bowie, and part of that's the trees, and you guys do an awesome job. I'm always really happy to see a new tree being planted. So keep it up. Thank you. So we focused on Bel Air, and that's such a beech trees. Number one, are there other beech trees in Bowie property that will need to be treated and or come down? And then number two, I know we're surrounded by a lot of county land. I think like the David Kerr Woods or the J.J. Peters has a lot of beech trees. Is the county doing something for the beech trees that would be contiguous to Bowie? Thank you.
That I can't answer. I mean, Prince George's County kind of governs their own. We kind of localize things and worry about us and our residents and what we can do. We do actually have a handful of beech trees in our inventory. I mean, there's at least 3 of them at Buckingham Park, right next to the white fence. So those are going to be under our watchful eye. We're not going to go run out and cut them down, but we're going to keep an eye on them and hopefully not have any issues. I mean, they're more ornamental. I believe they're Europeans, so they have a different growth structure. There is a lot in the woods off the nature trails behind White Marsh Park that we'll have to keep an eye on. But we got our eyes on it.
So I'm going to make probably an unpopular comment here, but I think it's, I want to make sure that we're transparent with the community in reference to the beech leaf disease. And I'm not a biologist, I'm not a botanist, I don't know about nematodes, but I do know what I've read from those that are experts. And this is a serious issue, beech leaf disease, that are going to be impacting all of the beech trees in our area, period. That is, so I encourage our residents to not just take City of Bowie's word for it and go out, do some independent reading on it. It is similar to the ash borer issue, and anybody that knows about that's a stark statement right there. So the fate of the beech trees in Bowie, in Prince George's County, in Maryland is not good. All right, so. We are looking at the 80,000 trees in our tree plotter inventory and seeing where there are beech trees. Thankfully, we don't have a lot of them outside of the topic this evening that are on city property. Those that are on city property will be managed, whether through treatment or replacement. Again, thankfully, none of those are old growth. The ones that are old growth are the ones on Bel Air Drive. But I want to make sure that we're very direct in how we're chatting tonight and having that honest dialogue.
And everyone should have received an information packet so you can learn more about the beech trees there and how to get in contact with the organizations that you need to. Okay, so I'll take this next question.
Thank you. I'm probably going to be directing it a little differently. First of all, how old are the trees? When was it first noticed that it had this disease? Because I'm right in the middle of that block. That's all.
Okay, so we had this internal discussion as far as how old the trees are. And there are difference of opinions. We know that they are historic. We have gone back and looked at aerial. We utilize a software called PG Atlas, where you can go back and look at historic aerial footage over time. They predate Levitt, and that's all I can speak to with any honesty and integrity. So we don't know when they were originally planted, but we know that they predate Levitt. I didn't catch the other question, I'm sorry. The disease was noticed about 6 weeks ago? When did you have the contractor out there?
So we had Bartlett Tree come out, and they took some samples, and they tested in their lab, and that was confirmed probably about a month or two ago.
Okay. I'll think about it. I forgot what okay.
Oh, thank you. If you keep this meeting going, I'm going to keep thinking of the other questions. But, sorry. But I think the idea of creating greater diversity in the tree population makes great sense. But I wonder, how much thought have you put into the impact of the choice of tree on the greater biodiversity? For example, there's a professor at Delaware, I can't remember his name. He's got a homegrown park, something like that, where he encourages everyone to grow native plants to support insect species, but then support birds, which then support, bigger raptors and whatnot. And a little bit I've read, trees like maybe all oak trees, but certain oak trees support over 100 different types of insects. And of course, birds eat insects. And so if we had more insects, not the mosquitoes so much, but a greater diversity in the insect population, maybe we'd have more songbirds in the area. And if we could keep the cat population from eating them all, then maybe we would be better. So that first question is, how much thought was given to the choice of trees in terms of supporting the biodiversity?
I would say a lot, because we were trying to utilize native trees that we know are adjust really well to a roadside. This isn't a landscaped area off of a road. These street trees get beat up, and we need something that root structure isn't going to affect the roadway much. And that's why these three that were selected were picked, because we knew they would work well on a roadway because of root structure. At least one of them has the same kind of appearance, but we don't want to just single it out, because another old adage is the 3% or 10%. It was 3%, right? Where you only have 3% of one kind of tree in that microclimate. Because if once again, if you have one solid tree and some disease if you planted all white oaks and some new white oak disease shows up tomorrow, all of those could be affected. So you're diversifying to widen the chance of having success.
And one last question, I promise it'll be the last one. When the new 450 was built, there is now this triangle of land that is maybe across from St. Pius.
Yes.
Which I thought, this is a great place for more trees or milkweed plants to support monarch butterflies. There's some other plants that support biodiversity. Are there any plans to do anything with that triangle?
Well, one very quick, when I noticed when those trees were planted, the soil was very, very poor, and every year we've lost a little bit and a little bit more, and there's quite a few in there now that need to be removed. But my director, Nick Spurgeon, will fill you in on.
We were just out there within the last month walking several of our staff members. We noticed that there were several trees that are dead currently, and we were talking about replacement. So we see that as an opportune location. Brian is correct. There are some soil concerns that certainly can be addressed by amending soils. So there is an opportunity. We'll take that back to the team and work on it.
I'm also referring to the. I'm referring to that triangle, which is just grass.
Yes,
not the trees. Okay,
correct.
We're talking about
but
the same thing.
Yeah, within that area or adjacent and contiguous to the grassy open area, it's just down the little swale and back up onto a little plateau, are some beautiful trees and some dead trees. And we were just out there. We were talking about having to remove those and talking about planting. We haven't come up with a plan quite yet, but we were looking at that as a great location to make some modifications.
And that's yet
Thank you.
another area that was state property and turned over to the city. So when the state ends up planting trees, it's, you know, there's one, there goes one, right there. And then it's turned over to the city, and we gotta kind of pick up the pieces. So, actually, that piece of property to us is called Tulip Grove Park. That's right.
We have a question over here.
Like, it sounds like a name is coming, you know, a little placard.
It's just what we've always called it.
Thank you very much for taking your time to do this. It is interesting that this is pretty sudden that you guys have just recently kind of, I guess, noticed the disease. Are you still planning on, I know the website's there, just kind of letting people know? I know I drive through it every day to take my kids to school, and I saw like the caution flag and was like, something's going on. So, but just getting more people to know, because I know a lot of people love, you know, that drive through, and once they see it gone, they might be like shocked. So I just didn't know like kind of how it's going to get out there, if there's going to be more communication, I guess.
Yeah, we're going to barrage the community with information. We realize this is a beloved area. Everybody loves it. I mean, it's so we don't want people to be surprised. There will be some that will miss every social media post and every newsletter piece. It's okay, you know, we get that. We still want to reach out as much as possible. So our communications team they got a big old bullseye on this. They're working on it. Our outreach team with Janae, they're working on it. And yeah, that's very, very important to us, and it was very important to the city council when we brought this to their attention a couple weeks ago.
Thank you. One other thing that I will add to this is we're utilizing these meetings so that we can formulate a frequently asked question page, so that those persons who aren't able to attend tonight, or as questions come up that we might not have thought of, that we'll post those on the page and continue to update our social media as well, so you'll always be informed.
The professor that Kim just mentioned is Doug Ptolemy, and his book is Bringing Nature Home.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tiffany. And I think we had a question over here.
I just wanted to say two things. One is the video was very good. I saw it, explained everything I needed to hear. I just wanted to come and see some photographs. So thank you for doing that. I saw it on Facebook an hour and a half ago. That video was awesome, and thank you for doing this.
No problem. I mean, it's a team effort through City of Bowie Community Services.
Yes, thank you. Thank you also from me. Those beech trees that are there now, they seem to me to be, they're huge and they're close together, and I'm pleasantly surprised that you can plant new trees there. But you can do that with all the roots with relative chance of success?
I mean, when a tree falls in the forest, another tree will spring up right next to it. Now, after the stumps are ground, like that big lug in the video said, the stumps will be ground, material will be removed, backfilled with new soil, and the trees will be planted. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, thank you. First of all, a comment. I had a black locust in my front yard that had to be taken down, and you guys came out and took care of it really well, so kudos to you guys. Keep up the good work. So we're talking about beech trees. Are any other native trees going to be affected by similar diseases? I mean, that could be affected by this disease? Do we have to worry about any others?
Unfortunately, there's always new native diseases, or I wouldn't say native, invasive diseases every year that they're finding. So a new one that's probably going to come to this area soon is called the box tree moth, which affects boxwood bushes. That's something you might want to look into if you have boxwood bushes. But other than that, there's the emerald ash borer that everyone knows about. We go to conferences every year to get pest updates for these things. And I believe the University of Maryland has a web page where they put out new updates when new invasive pests come out. So you can always check there too.
Yeah, the MDA website is really, really good. They have so much stuff on nutrient management, tree selection for your own yard. It's a good tool.
There's also a link to the Maryland Extension page in your packet.
Yes, this is my husband's question. He would like to know how many experts looked at the tree to assess the disease and to propose a solution.
Could you repeat that one more?
How many experts looked at the disease to propose a solution?
Oh wow, Paul, what do we have? 3?
That was done through Bartlett. So we had one guy collect the sample, and then it went to a laboratory. I guess I don't know how many people they have on their research team working in the laboratory, but they're very professional. So
Used only one organization or several of them?
They did use Bartlett, but Bartlett is a national research team, so it's not as if they're just local to us, it's just Porter County. They are national, and they have one of the highest rated, they have one of the highest rated research teams, so they are very thorough, and they also did our presentation to City Council.
There was also a specialist that came to City Council who is part of the research team, his PhD. You probably have his name. I'm terrible with names, so I'm not going to.
Chase, Dr. Kevin Chase.
Kevin Chase. He has his PhD on entomology as it relates to botany or trees. And he is a world of knowledge. You get him talking, he'll talk to you all day about bugs. But he was fascinating. He has tons of information. We had experts on this team that go beyond our own independent foresters, tree workers.
Do we have any more questions?
A national approach. So this is not something that, thank you, I think I have a loud voice, sorry. So this is a national approach. This is not something that we're just looking at doing ourselves, but this is what is common across the country. So we are taking as many steps as we can to be proactive, but also to make sure that we're informative to you all so that you all know what our next steps are, as well as, and I think we can touch on this a little bit more too, as what to do if you have a beech tree on your property.
We'll take our last question.
Lori just asked you a question. What would you do if you had a beech tree on your property? What should you do?
If I had a beech tree on my property, I would definitely get the preventative treatment for the beech leaf disease. You can look for the brittle cinder fungus. It might have it if you see like black sooty stuff at the base of the tree where the root flare is. It kind of does look just like brittle cinders, like from a fireplace almost. But about the beech leaf disease, I would definitely get preventative treatment for that, and I would contact a professional arborist who's licensed to treat for that.
Thank you, Paul.
I'm sure we've all seen a lot of, speaking of invasive species, I'm sure a lot of us have seen the spotted lanternfly, and that does damage to different kind of plants. Is that anything we need to be concerned about here in Bowie?
The consensus that I'm hearing from the conferences I'm going to, and also on University of Maryland's website, they're saying they're expecting those to be more of a nuisance than anything that causes any extensive landscape damage. And the population within a few years will probably start to go down as the landscape starts to understand them more.
And what we actually need is a really good hard winter. Yes, which I don't want one. I do not want one, because when the snow falls, we're out pushing it. So, and it's very detrimental to turf grass. But I'll leave it at that. So.
Any last questions?
Thank you, everybody, for coming out this evening. If there's any questions that come in after the fact, there's several folks that you can reach out to. I'm Nick Spurgeon. I'm the director for the Department of Community Services. Lori Cunningham, she's the assistant director. But most importantly, these are the resident experts in our community having to do with trees. So you can reach out to Parks and Grounds Department or Division within the Department of Community Services, and they will certainly help you navigate this challenging time.
It's also on the website, so cityofbowie.org/beechtree, and you can have all of their information there and reach out to them.
Thank you, everybody.